Welcome to my kitchen. I'm Chef Deborah from Roca's Bakery in Greensboro, North Carolina. You can visit us at rocasbakery.com and look at our online store and all of the other events that we have going on. You can visit us also at the Piedmont Triad Farmers Market in Greensboro, North Carolina on the weekends starting in May from 7:30 in the morning until 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Today we're going to be making hand pies. We've done a couple of episodes where it's about southern delights and sweet treats. And hand pies are everywhere at the farmers markets and flea markets in the South, and especially in North Carolina where we live. So we're going to be doing some different types of fruit fillings. We're also going to be doing a Roca's version of the classic Pop-Tart. We've made our double berry, I call it our black and blue compote with blackberries and blueberries, and we have cherry filling, we've got strawberry, and I'm going to do a Nutella filling on our breakfast pastries. So we're going to start today with an egg wash, one egg beaten with a tablespoon of water, but we're going to measure out about 3 cups of flour, and we want to do the dip and scrape. We don't want to pack our flour because that puts too much flour in the recipe and then you have to add more fat to it. We're going to start with 3 cups of flour, scraper there. And to that we're going to add about 1/4 cup of sugar. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of salt. We're going to mix that as our dry ingredients. We have a teaspoon of vanilla here, a little over 1/2 cup of whole buttermilk. Buttermilk makes these super flaky and absolutely wonderful. I have here chilled 3/4 pound of butter and 1/4 pound of Crisco, cut up into little pieces. And I used to have discussions, shall we say, with one of my chef instructors when I was in pastry school about Crisco versus butter, or fat lard versus butter. My mother used Crisco in her pie dough. She made delicious pie doughs. But we're going to take this and crumble it up, smush the butter with our fingers and the Crisco with our fingers. And I like to use a blend because sometimes if we use an all butter crust, it can be a little temperamental. It can shrink a lot, and if you don't have it super cold, it will melt out sometimes of the pastry. So for the home baker, I like to mix it up a little bit and add some Crisco to the butter. It isn't as frustrating to work with. Sometimes if you're frustrated with a recipe and you just can't get it to work right or look right or bake right, you're not going to want to bake it again. And these are such delightful little hand pies. We want to make sure that you have all the tools that you need. So you can see we're working this pretty good into the flour mixture. And we don't want any big chunks. We want to like small sizes, small peas throughout the mixture. So that looks about like it should be. So we're going to go ahead and add the vanilla to our buttermilk. We're going to stir this up in there. And I don't like to add all of the buttermilk because you just never know, it might be a little too wet. So if you watch any of my other episodes where we're making dough like this, we just want to toss it together. We don't want to take a spoon and smush it all up together, but we want to add enough liquid to where we could get it into a cohesive dough. So this is going to be a fairly wet dough. And then we're just going to bring it together with our hands, scraping it off our fingers. And this is one of those recipes, like a lot of my recipes, where you're going to have to get your hands in the mess and get them in the dough, because that's the only way you're going to be able to tell the consistency of the dough that you're working with. And that's about what we're looking for. This is a little bit softer dough because it does have buttermilk in it. So we didn't use all of our buttermilk, which is a good thing. So we're going to take some additional flour here, and we're going to put some down on the counter. And we're going to take our dough and we're going to cut it in half, make it easier to work with. And we're just going to fold this over on itself just a couple of times, just to pull the dough together a little bit so that we can roll it out easier. We don't want to knead it like we're kneading bread dough or anything. We don't want to activate too much of the gluten in it. We just want it to come together like this so it's a nice, nice smooth dough. So let me clean my hands and we'll be back in just a minute. So I've got my hands clean so I can roll out the clean dough that we have here. So we're going to lightly flour our board, and on the top of our pie crust, and we're going to gently roll, and we want to keep enough flour on the board so that the dough is not sticking to the board or your countertop. They come together pretty quickly and they make nice little gifts to put in a Christmas basket, or for your special dessert, or not even a special dessert, just for everyday dessert. It's nice to surprise your family with some good ham pies. And you want to make sure your rolling pin stays clean. My mother was famous for her pies and her pie dough. And everybody in the family, every time we had a family reunion, she was asked to bring her pies. Her favorite was lemon meringue. We don't have to really cut this out into any specific shape because we're going to be cutting these into squares. You can actually cut it into circles and do it that way. We don't want to cut them too thin either, but I can just use my bench scraper and scrape off the edges here. We can re-roll this because it's a super soft dough. So you don't need any special tools or anything like that. And depending on how big you want your pies to be, just remember you're going to have 2 pieces for each pie, for each ham pie. So we've got 2 here, and we're just going to brush the edges with some egg white, and we're going to take our black and blue filling and put it right in the center. Now, I love to just jam as much filling in it as I can, and it's going to ooze out everywhere. But I want to get a bite of filling because these fresh berries, when they cook down, they're just so delicious. And how I do my fillings, especially with my blueberries, I cook the compote down. We're going to put this on top and press it down just very, very lightly. So we're sealing the edges like this. Then going back to the compote, I cook some of the blueberries down, and then when that compote is done cooking down, I add about half the amount that I used in the compote of fresh berries into the compote, and just let the heat of the cooked berries soften the other berries, and they're absolutely delicious that way because you get a pop of the fresh berry in your mouth and it tastes absolutely wonderful. So we're going to take these and we're going to brush the tops with our egg wash again. We're going to sprinkle them with sugar. If you want to not have the sugar on, that's fine too. I have found that a little bit of sugar it makes it pretty. Now, sometimes sparkling sugar, you see me use that. If you've watched any of our episodes, it looks beautiful. You can use regular sugar as well. And so you can keep re-rolling this dough because it's got the buttermilk in it, so it's a very forgiving dough, so you don't have to worry about not having to be able to roll it out a couple of times. So we're just going to get this incorporated together here real quick. It's a lot different than our regular pie dough, which is kind of nice. But the vanilla in here makes it wonderful, warm flavor to it. Be sure that we've got enough flour on here. So you don't want to press too hard on the dough. You don't want to tear it. You just want to roll it and turn it and roll it and turn it until you get it out to the thickness that you want. And, everybody has their own favorite thickness of pie dough, and some like it thin, some like it kind of thick. They want a big mouthful of pie dough. Others like it in between. This is one of those recipes that you really can personalize and make it exactly how you want it and your family wants it. Now, normally with our cherry filling, I like to add a little bit of almond extract. You really don't taste the almond, but it really accentuates the flavor of the cherries. And a lot of people don't know that, but almond and cherries work beautifully together, and it just really enhances the cherry flavor. But you really don't taste the almond. So you just want to put in like a jar of cherry pie filling. You would want to put probably maybe a half a teaspoon only of almond extract. So like I said, it's very super forgiving. So I don't think I can move this much further here. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of different shape, I think, here. Wanted to do a round shape, but I don't have a round cutter here, so we'll just do something a little thinner. If your kids have ever had you buy those breakfast pastries like Pop-Tarts, my kids used to love those when they were growing up. I used to make it for them, and so I knew that they were getting healthy food, real food. So we're gonna make some little like Pop-Tart-like shapes. So I've got some strawberry jam. This is one of my kids' favorite, was strawberry jam. And you can put sprinkles on these when they're done and make them look really nice and festive for the kids. They really like, my kids loved sprinkles when they were growing up. I know a lot of our younger customers in the bakery like sprinkles as well. And we're gonna close these a little bit differently. I've got a little cutter here, just a little round cutter. Just put a little hole in the top just to make it look a little different, because it doesn't always have to be the same. So we're going to change it up a little bit. And we're going to close them the same way and do the same process as we did with our black and blue filling. And this way they're a little more decorative and fun. And have your oven preheating to about 365 degrees. And these take maybe 15 minutes or so to bake. They don't take a long time to bake, so you don't have to worry about that. So you just go ahead and seal the edges all around. And then when these are done, we're going to glaze them and sprinkle them with, the strawberries at least, with the sprinkles to make them look real nice and fun. So we're gonna go ahead and continue rolling out and making our hand pies. And when we get through with that, we'll come back and get them in the oven and let them get baking. So we'll see you in a few minutes. So we're back with our baked hand pies and our breakfast pastries. So we've got two of our black and blue, and we've got 3 strawberry and 1 Nutella for Gabriella. So we're gonna go ahead and ice these. Now this is our regular icing glaze, confection sugar, a little bit of vanilla, and a little bit of milk. I just like to drizzle because glaze is great on everything. Now you obviously don't have to do this if you don't want to, but really does set the pastries off, gives it a nice finish to it. And with these hand pastries, what I like to do for the breakfast pastries for the kids is I like to just spread it out a little bit on top to make more of a solid covering. Kind of looks like the breakfast pastries they might be used to getting out of the little pieces of foil. But these are so much better than what you can buy in the grocery store. And if you want to take the time to make some whole real food for your family, this is the way to do it. Trust me, your kids will remember. If you're a young mother or young parents that have kids that are just really young, get them used to eating real whole foods because it makes a difference. I know my kids remember. They remember all the times that Mom made bread every Saturday morning or made these special pastries for them, and the many biscuits. And Lord, if I had a penny for every chocolate chip cookie I made for their friends and them, I'd be living in a mansion someplace. So, they do remember. So we're going to take on our breakfast pastries. We're going to absolutely do sprinkles because everything is better with sprinkles. We won't do our hand pies like that, but we will do our breakfast pastries for the kids that way. And for the kids at heart that way. So this is Chef Deborah signing off for this episode of Hand Pies and Breakfast Pastries. Roca's Bakery, rocasbakery.com is our website, our online store. Visit and find something wonderful to order. We also have gift certificates available online. If you want to send your loved one an e-gift card, you can do all of that online in a secure environment. And if you have something special you want us to do for you, please give us a call. Our number is on our website. Visit our Instagram and our Facebook page to see what's new and happening. Thank you for visiting our kitchen today.